everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. This week we're going to be going back in time about 4.5 years. That's how long I've been living tiny, and I want to go through 10 different changes that my tiny house has gone through since I've gotten it. These switches needed to be done in order for me to live a better tiny house lifestyle. So we're going to go through those 10 things right now, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay, starting off with number 1. I got rid of my water reclamation system almost immediately after going tiny, and one of the reasons is because I was having so many problems with trying to get it to work. Now, I think everybody remembers or maybe doesn't remember, but my builder invented this water reclamation system and I decided to put it in my tiny house. I was one of the 15 of the houses that got it in. All of the houses had problems and they ended up discontinuing the water reclamation system. Basically, I had it all taken out. I got a full refund. I had this water reclamation system on the back of my tiny house in a extra compartment, kind of like an extra storage space. But instead of making it a storage space for me, they put a 150-gallon water tank back there with a bunch of filters and fans and cords and stuff, everything that needed to make it work, including the pipes ran from the gutters. When I did have that taken out, I did hire somebody to put extra storage back there. Now that that system's not back there, I still wanted to utilize it in some ways. I'm really glad that that's there and it does come in handy. One note, now that I am on my land, hopefully in the future, I will find some other kind of way to become more off-grid when it comes to my tiny house. Right now, my tiny house does have utilities to it. I do want to reintroduce a water reclamation system of some sort in the future. Number 2, I used to have a washer-dryer combo in my tiny house, but I did end up getting rid of that. There were a couple complications with the drying cycle. It took about 4 hours to dry a full cycle. It shook the whole house. I did have a slight mold incident, but it was not because of what I thought it was. I did not leave clothes in there. What ended up happening was the lip of that washer dryer combo didn't dry completely, and I didn't open the door because I have 3 cats and I didn't want them to get trapped inside. So I did not keep the door open to let it dry, and I was using it as a laundry basket of sorts. So I would throw my clothes in there, and a week later when I went to go do laundry, there was mold on all of those clothes. I did feel inside that ring, and come to find out it was still wet in there, so I can only imagine that that contributed to the mold on the clothes. Now that I have this empty spot where the washer dryer combo is, I thought to put my closet there. So I had a clothes closet hanging from my ceiling in my bedroom loft. It was kind of a privacy window, but I finally added some shears to my window, so I was able to take that closet down and put it in the spot where the washer dryer came out of. Number 3, another thing I did almost immediately was I hired somebody to vent my toilet pipe up 10 feet. Now, when I first had the tiny house built, the builder put it out at 4 feet, and it was actually in the front of my house. In that little area is where I had my seating area. It kind of had a scent in it, so I said, no, I am not going to have this toilet vented out in my front yard. So I needed to have that piped up at least 10 feet so that the air could take it away, the scent. I hired the handyman in the campground and he piped it up 10 feet. He put a little cap on top of it that had like a roof so that bugs couldn't get inside. Number 4, shortly after we vented up the pipes 10 feet, we had to add an extra fan, like a stronger fan, to that toilet because being up 10 feet, the fan that originally came with the toilet wasn't strong enough to vent the scent out. So we did have to add an extra stronger fan, and that actually went on the outside of the tiny house into the existing pipes that went up. This made a huge difference in the smell in my tiny house, along with gnats not being around my toilet so much because the scent wasn't gathering inside my house because the fan wasn't strong enough to pull it up. I think that was a good fix. I will be putting the link to this stronger fan in the description below, just in case you guys are looking to upgrade your toilet fan as well. Number 5, I added a convection oven fan. Well, I was living in Sparta, Tennessee at this time, and I hired a handyman to come over to actually put a hole in my house so that I could vent the convection oven outside. Because at this point, my convection oven is ventilating on the inside of the house because there's nowhere for any of that steam or that energy to go. So he put a fan on the outside of it and now it vents out. I can turn it on and off from the inside of the house, which is very convenient. And this fan is also similar to my cat vent fan, which is venting out the litter box inside the tiny house. This convection oven fan actually does really work. Number 6, that same handyman put a platform underneath my bed in my loft, and this was to make some ventilation underneath the bed because I only had a mattress on the floor. One of my plans was to have or build a platform underneath the bed so I could raise it up so that there was ventilation underneath. This also added a little bit of extra storage. Now, because my loft is short to begin with, the handyman had to cut that 14-inch platform foot down to about 6 inches, but this still gave me enough room for me to sit up on my bed, and it gave me 6 inches of storage underneath my bed. With this platform in my loft, it's also easier to sit down. I don't have to get so low to the ground anymore just to sit on my bed, and it's not so hard getting up. Number 7 change. I took my couch bed storage out of my old living area and I made it into a dining area. I added a dining room table. So one of the reasons why I did this was because I'm going to be renting the tiny house out Airbnb, and I wanted the guests to have a comfortable place to eat. This dining room table can accommodate 2 when folded in or 4 when folded out. And again, I did this on purpose for the guests and then myself when I move back in. It fits in that little spot really well, and I ordered 4 chairs from Amazon. The 2 chairs do fit on the side when not in use, so everything is actually put away when it's folded into the 2. One thing I want to note is that my original idea for that area was to put a round little dining table with 2 chairs. And next to it was going to be a little wood heater, but I can't really do that anymore. Maybe I can put the wood heater inside the living room area. But I did end up changing that plan so that Airbnb guests could accommodate either 2 or 4 people. If I would have had the little dining table and the 2 chairs, 4 people couldn't sit there unless they brought 2 chairs of their own or I supplied them, but it just wouldn't have been a good setup for an Airbnb. I do like what I did end up buying, so I think we'll just put the wood heater in the living room whenever I decide to get one. Number 8, I switched out my composting toilet for a regular flush toilet. Now, one of the reasons this happened was because I'm going to be renting it out Airbnb and I wanted the guests to have a more comfortable place to go to the bathroom. It was also to help me out. I didn't want to have to change the toilet 30 times a month and have to use 30 different bags and then try to figure out how to get rid of those 30 different bags each month. I didn't have a compost bin or bucket or area that's big enough to accommodate all of that, so I just went ahead and got it switched out to go into my septic. My tiny house and this mobile home are tied into the same septic. Everything's all good. It's a regular flush toilet. I did have the 3-inch pipes put in so that toilet paper can be flushed down. Now, when I did move here, I had pipes put into my tiny house, but they were only about 2.5 inches or 2 inches, and that's not big enough for toilet paper to fit down. I did have to have the whole septic job redone all over again just because they needed bigger pipes. Number 9, I had my deck put on. So ever since I've had my tiny house, I've been using little wood steps. I have been using little makeshift steps, and I have never really had a proper set of steps to go up to my tiny house. In addition, I finally added a deck, and now I have a 5x6 platform deck on the front of my tiny house, which is amazing because it's got handrails. I can walk up it. I don't have to walk on the mud and the dirt. I'm not wobbling as I'm walking up a makeshift set of stairs. So it's really awesome that I got this deck, and now guests can enjoy walking up it too, and it's not a liability. And number 10 change, I took my entire business office out of my tiny house and I created a living room in there. This was my plan from the beginning. I wanted to utilize that space for my business office until I found a bigger space to put my office in, which is this mobile home living room. Now that that office is out of there, I added a futon couch that turns into a bed for guests or myself. I added 2 side tables. I changed out all of the curtains in in the living room. Now I have a comfortable living room for myself and guests. When the Airbnb guests rent, they also have some place to sit rather than a couch bed storage with a cushion that was only 2 inches tall. I mean, it was so uncomfortable. So something had to be done when it came to a proper living room for my tiny house. Even though we plan a certain way to make our tiny house in the beginning, there are going to be changes along the way. Things that we're going to find out and experience that aren't working for us that we're going to need to switch out or change so that they can work better for us. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and click the notifications button so you can receive a notification each time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. He piped it up 10 feet and put a little, what's that thing called? A cap that looks like a roof on top of it in order for the scent to just, don't put that. I will be putting the links to the description, don't put that. I will be putting the link to the product, don't put that, because at this point don't put that, because at this point I would use it and you could actually see that the house was not filled with smoke. Don't put that.